it's mysterious.
It's that warm crackle from a vinyl record that you get, you know, or that tape hiss from an old cassette.
Analog is just great. It like almost has like great moral quality when it comes to sound. It's like, hey, all right, this is like super pure sound. We're keeping it real, you know, like literally like this sound is real.
I think when you first see a vintage synthesizer like these, you're kind of blown away because it's sort of like looking at that couch at your grandma's house, you know? It's like, what's with this wood paneling? You know, what are all these knobs? What is all this stuff? What's the difference between this and like an electric piano?
A lot of these guys who do analog music, such as myself, we know what analog is to us. We know the feeling that it sparks in us, or the emotion it evokes. But when it comes to technical aspects, you know, it's almost sort of a mystery. And that's partially why I did this documentary.
My name's Sean Angelo. I operate this private studio, Psychic Western Studio, that is utilized mostly by my band, but also by other musical colleagues and friends of mine. That probably started definitely sometime in the late 90s is where like I started to amass more and more gear. And a lot has come and gone, you know, over the years, and it's like this setup now is pretty much a lot different than it used to be. But there's some kind of pieces that I consider more relics to my studio that I've had from the beginning. But at some point, my older brother traded our great-grandpa's drum set, which he stole out of our grandpa's attic. My brother took it and traded it to some kid at school for this weird box, which I presume he actually, if I remember correctly, he took from his dad. And neither, you know, none of them were the wiser. And he traded these drums for this box. And I was kind of blown away because why did he trade great-grandpa's drums for this weird box? And confused me, you know, because that kind of just added to the complexity of this lie that I had to tell now. But it didn't take long to completely, you know, kind of have my mind blown by this thing because my brother started using it. It was a Oberheim DX drum machine.
This instrument is a disco favorite. That's the surprising thing with as antiquated and archaic as the entire process is and the clocks, and how limited you would think it would be by the process, the means by which it achieves its sounds. Seems kind of bizarre and strange, but somehow it works. It works really well. This thing has an extremely human element to it. We have the EEPROM chips, and I don't know if you can actually read what they say, but you can see right on it, it says kick drum, snare, hi-hat, toms, and then we have shaker. But each one of these, and then there's some over here too.
I never could really wrap my head around how some of these older analog machines work.
It's produced by a physical like voice chip in the keyboard that has electricity flowing through it that produces the sound in electrical form and then is converted into actual analog audio, which you would then, in the early days, have recorded onto tape.
So analog recording or analog sound is different from digital in the sense that it's a perfect reproduction of the sound wave, where digital is points on a map or points on that sound wave that are recorded in ones and zeros.
That's where the real passion and real fun is, you know, for having real actual hardware as opposed to using the computer completely in the box. The thing you're touching gets to talk back to you and influence you moment by moment in real time. The highlight there is that it's physical. It's a tangible thing. It's electricity, it's voltage. It definitely just, it sounds better. And I know that's kind of a subjective thing. So you have that kind of organic, real interaction with your own electricity that your body produces when you touch that key. It kind of just seems like there's a synchronicity there, and it's kind of magical. And for me, I think that all that is kind of sterilized when you're looking through the window at the gift shop, you know, wishing that you could be in that room, you know. But with the real gear, you don't have to wish, you know, you get to open your own fucking gift shop.
My name is Jeffrey Bennett. I work at Decibel Audio. We sell in the store both new equipment, and then we refurbish old equipment and sell it as vintage, turntables, receivers, and speakers. I've been in the audio industry for the better part of all of my life. My father used to own a chain of stereo stores when I was a kid. My brother and our nicknames were Woofer and Tweeter, and I've just been doing it forever. I've worked for Monster Cable, AudioQuest, some consumer electronics manufacturers like Yamaha and Denon. I've just been doing this forever. We sell mostly lots and lots of turntables, vintage turntables and new turntables, and a lot of vintage receivers. So if it has a silver plate and a wood cabinet, people love it.
The workload that goes into some of these older machines and like the time-consuming aspect of it. Like when I first got my MPC 2000, I didn't realize I was making beats for like 10 hours, you know? Something about the analog format, it's almost like time doesn't exist when you're messing with it, you know?
The analog process of making music makes you forget about time. It's no longer relevant. It kind of seems to dilate.
Some of these older machines are harder to operate, and they have a learning curve, but then there's the cost. Some of these machines are very, very expensive.
Like you could get a plugin that like imitates an 1176 compressor, or you could go buy an 1176 compressor. The difference is the plugin is going to cost you like, I don't know, somewhere between like 400 and 800 bucks or something, and the compressor is going to cost you like 10 grand or something, you know?
People definitely spend more money on analog products. Digital products are a commodity. It's how fast it can come out, how big it is, how, you know, how cheap they can get it before the next new thing comes out. Analog products, you know, we have receivers in the store that are 40 years old that are just as relevant now as they were when they came out in 1972. So the products definitely last longer, they're built better, and they sound better.
So nowadays, with digital running everything from distribution to actually recording the music, I feel it's important that we maintain the integrity of analog, even if we are eventually ending up in a digital format, because I believe analog has a very human aspect to it, and music that's produced 100% digitally with sounds coming from like the Pro Tools library or something, I feel like that has a very synthetic quality.